Girls Knit Podcast. I'm Cece, also known as Java Pearl.
I'm Damaris, also known as Damaris Dash a bit weird.
And we're glad to have you today. Today is not Wednesday. Again, didn't we have one of these not long ago where it was not Wednesday? Anyway, today is Monday, the 11th of May, 2015, and this is episode 140. We'd like to say a big welcome back. We love you. To all our returning viewers, and a big hiya to any new viewers. Thanks for giving us a shot. We hope you enjoy the show. Mayor, we had one person join the group this week and introduce themselves, so why don't you give them a shout out?
Okay. Mindy, who is Mindy GC from Pennsylvania.
Hi, Mindy. Thanks for joining the group. So, Damaris, if somebody is not a member of our Ravelry group, what should they do?
Join.
And what are the benefits for them for joining the group?
You can participate in CALs and giveaways.
Yes. We tell them happy birthday if their birthday's in their profile. Yeah. But you can't win prizes if you're not a member of the group. So after they join the group, what should they then do?
Introduce yourself in our introductions thread and you'll get a shout out on our next episode.
That's right. So this is not going to be a normal episode. So we're recording early because I'm going to be in London this week, later in this week. I'll mention that again at the end of the podcast. But also this week, this past week, we had the chance to sit down with the Rachel Herron. Now, if you don't know who Rachel Herron is, I'm sorry, you need to. She is an author and a knitter. Some of her books are, what did she call it, Knitlit?
I think so.
I believe so. I've read all her books. I just don't know. I think that's the word she used to describe them. And then she's got some other mainstream romances, but knitting has found its way in, even though it wasn't supposed to. So we actually spent a couple of hours with her last Thursday. Is that when it was? I think so. And we recorded a portion of that time with her as an interview, but then we also kind of found other topics, and so some of it you'll just get to sit and watch our chit-chat about stuff, and hopefully it's interesting. But because of that, we are not going to do all of our normal segments this week, because the interview with Rachel is almost 45 minutes long. So we're just going to do a few things, and then when I get back from London and we're ready to record next week's episode, it might be a bumper, little bit bigger episode as we catch up on everything. So we're going to get started and cover a few segments, and then we will have the interview with Rachel, and then after that a few announcements, and yeah. So we hope y'all enjoy the episode, and let's get started.
And now we're going to talk about what's on our needles.
So what's on your needles, Mare?
I knit a hexapuff and started another one.
Okay, so tell us about the pattern and all that jazz.
The pattern is the Beekeeper's Quilt by Tiny Owl Knits. And I am using Eva Spores, 3.5 millimeters.
Do you know what yarn that is?
No.
It looks like Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
Or bees. So hold it closer so they can see it finished. And then one of these days you're going to sew all these together.
Yeah.
So you finished that, or you did that one and then you just started another one.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And what else is on your needles? Because I know something else is on them.
I started a gift.
So tell us about it.
It's a bag. The pattern is Sassy Stash Sack by Sassy Skein. I'm using US 8s, 5 millimeters, and the yarn is Patterns UK Fab DK in the raspberry colorway.
I have no clue why this is called raspberry. Hold on, let me see this. Does that look like a raspberry to you? The color's not quite on, but it is reds and oranges and blues and yellows. How in the world is that raspberry? I don't understand. It makes no sense to me. To me, it looks like Superman. So, but you're modifying this pattern. Sorry, to get back on topic. So it's a backpack. Well, kind of. It's like one of those bags that have the drawstring that you pull them, but then there's you can use the drawstring as a backpack. Mm-hmm. Yes. And you're making this for an almost 4-year-old.
Yes.
So it's a smaller one than you would normally see. So how are you modifying this pattern?
I'm knitting it so I don't have to sew it together when I'm done.
Okay. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, so we're not giving away secret sauce. So the actual way the pattern's written is you do what you would fold over to put the drawstrings through. So you're knitting a big long rectangle. So you would do that part, and then you do the whole bag, and then you put the other part at the bottom, and then you fold it up and sew up the sides, and then fold the top over to leave the hole for the drawstrings. But you did a, what's it called? Judy's Magic Cast On?
Yeah.
And then you're just going straight up, and then you'll just have to, the fold over part you'll have to do flat, but that's just a few rows.
Yeah.
So, I'm liking how it's looking so far.
Yeah.
The yarn's making fun stuff. So, and it should be a pretty fast knit since it's on such large needles.
Yeah.
So, all right, anything else you want to say about that?
Nope.
Okay, I have a few things on the needles. I didn't even bring that project bag over here. I am still working on the Indie Bra Yarn Crawl socks for 2015 that I'm designing. I had already finished the toe-up version in the pink yarn that I had shown y'all. This is on US 1.5's 2.5 mil needles, which I'm going to end up keeping for myself, the pink one. So I need to knit the second of that. But right now I'm working on the yarn that Jess dyed up. That'll be the special colorway for the Yarn Crawl. So I finished the cuff down version in that colorway. And I'm going to wait till I get back from London to cast on the toe up. But it's with testers now. And yeah, so that's going well. Then, sorry, I got to reach over here and get my bags. I forgot to bring them over here. I'm still working on my Halfway There shawl by Vera Valimaki, which I'm calling my Oh, We're Halfway There, Oh, Living on a Prayer shawl. This is on US 7's, 4.5 mil, and it's Rainbow Heirloom. Sorry, it's clanking. Rainbow Heirloom, Lush Light. The gray is Apparition, the turquoise is Blue Raspberry, and the purple is Princess Rockstar. So I did get quite a lot done on it this week. So I put in this marker right here after the podcast last week, and I've knit up to there. So I have knit 3 full repeats since last week, which is pretty good since it was a short week.
Yeah.
So, and so now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 11 repeats. I need to do 2 more full repeats and then a partial repeat. And that's where the pattern ends. But if I still have yarn left, I know I'll have plenty of the Blue Raspberry and Apparition left. But if I still have Princess Rockstar left, I may make it longer to make it deeper. So we're just going to, oops, the yarn is like caught around my badges there. So we'll just see how much I have when I get to that point. But I love, love, love working on this because it is, I think I even took a picture of it and posted it this past week. It's just so meditative and calming, and just the yarn flowing through your hands with the needles, and I just love it, love it, love it. I am also still working on secret socks for someone special, except for he knows now. So these are the Hub's birthday socks. These are based on my, or well, they're not based on, they're using my free vanilla cappuccino sock pattern you can get on Ravelry. They're on US 1.5's 2.5 mil needles, and the yarn is Knit Global sock yarn in the mountain colorway. So I think last week I had finished this sock and cast on the second one. So I think I had done just a little bit. So toes done, the whole foot's done, I've done the heel, and I'm working on the leg. Let's see how far I've gotten. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 rows in out of 52, and then the cuff. I'm hoping to finish this before I leave for London. So I gifted them to the Hubs, but said, you get one sock, I'll get the other one finished for you. So I'm going to try to get these done before we leave for before I leave for London. But I don't know if that'll happen. And then the last thing on my needles right now is my 10-stitch zigzag blanket by Frankie Brown. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. And I'm calling this my When You Think I'll Zig, I'll Zag. Then when you think I'm going to zag, I do zag, just to mess you up for the next time when I might zig blanket. It's on US 4's 3.5 mil needles. It's like a magic scarf. And this yarn is Highland Handmaids in the Uber colorway. So last week after we recorded, I put in a marker right here, and I have done a full zig and zag every day since we last recorded. I am up to, I think, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I'm up to 13 zigzags, and we measured it again on the bed yesterday. I think I need one more zigzag to get the full width of the bed, and then we want it to hang over the sides a little bit. So if I did my measurements correctly, I'm going to need 20 full zigzags, and I'm at 13 right now. This is not going with me to London, though, so there may not be a lot of progress on it in next week's episode, but I'm doing my best to do a zig and a zag every day. I think that's everything that's on the needles. I have not cast on my Mia yet in that yarn that I bought last week, the Knitterbocker Glory. I'm trying to wait till I get back from London, but that may not happen. I may end up casting it on today. But that is coming up on my needles. Yarn crawl stuff needs to be done after I get back from London. Needs to be finished. And I need to cast on another Christmas stocking for my sister when I get back. So all of that will be going on the needles before we record again, hopefully. So, all right, well, let's move on to the next segment.
And now we're going to talk about our finished projects.
And you have one this week.
Yes.
So let's hear about it.
Okay. This was my worm hat by Katharina Knob.
Tell us the yarns and everything.
I used US 4s, 3.5 millimeters, and US 6s, 4 millimeters, and the yarn is Easy Knits Arcadia in the Kirk colorway, and West Yorkshire Spinner's Signature 4-ply in the Poppy Seed colorway.
Yes. So, you haven't blocked it yet.
No.
But you have put it on and it's really cute.
Yeah. But
you don't want to put it on right now. Hold it up again. No, like this. It looks like a beehive. It's cute. I really, really like it. And it looks like it'd be really warm because of all the fabric. So, do you recommend the pattern?
Yes.
Yes. So you will get this blocked and we'll get some photos taken of it.
Yeah.
Probably after I get back. Cool. Did you finish anything else?
No.
Okay.
So what did you finish?
I finished 3 things this week. So first up is my weekly preemie hat. This is number 19 for the year from my free top-down preemie hat pattern on Ravelry. US 6's 4mm needles, and the yarn is, the blue is King Cole Merino Blend DK in the slate blue colorway. And it's that on there it's looking more like primary blue, and it's not, it's more slate. And then the orange is Marta's Yarns Metro in the Orange Burst colorway. And I did the blue bind off on it. Damaris said it looks like the Denver Broncos football team. So, and then second, I finished the second Christmas stocking for my sister. So this pattern is Mix and Match Socks by Nancy Lindberg on US 8's 5mm needles, and it's Cascade 220 in the Christmas Red, Highland Green, and Grist colorways. And there's a little bit of detail there. It's a darker gray than it's showing right now. And I am going to put loops in them, but I'm going to wait till I finish all 6 and see. I'm hoping just to do gray loops. And my sister said it was fine, whatever. I talked to her yesterday. But I'm going to wait and see if I have enough gray left to do the loops in the gray loops in all of them. Otherwise, I'll use red or green. So that is stocking number 2. Only 4 more to go. And finally, I am wearing my other finished object. I finally finished my Mama Vertebrae sweater. It took 4 months and a week to finish it. So this is the Mama Vertebrae pattern by Kelly Brooker. This was on US 2's 2.75mm and US 3's 3.25mm needles and the yarn is Yarnorama in the cerise colorway. I'm pleased with it. I really like it. Y'all are not gonna be able to see. There's pictures on my project page if you want to see it all in its full glory. I lengthened it because I wanted it to be a little bit longer. If I were to knit this again, I would modify the sleeves a little bit because I think they're a little bit too baggy. I think I should have done more severe decreases. And the other thing that's a little bit annoying me is, so it went straight from that into garter, but it's like doing this kind of number. So that's annoying me a little bit. I am going to take this to London with me, and I may see if we have time, if Sam, I don't have a sewing machine, Sam does. If Sam could, from the inside, stitch it up to take in some of the fabric. So it would almost be like steeking it. But that might help a little bit with the bagginess here. But I love it. It's so comfortable to wear, and I've been wearing it almost every day since I finished it. So love, 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 love it. I may knit another one in this yarn, which is a heavier weight. I won't do it again in 4-ply. But I don't think I think I've got 3 skeins of it that was gifted to me. But I think I'm in need of 4th. So I may look and see if anybody's got any available on Ravelry that they'd be willing to sell, to see if I have enough. But that's going to be a while. I'm not anywhere ready to cast on that. I've got 2 other sweaters, or a tank and a sweater to do in the meantime. So, yeah. Okay, well, that's everything we finished this week. So let's move on to the next segment. And now it's time for our favorite part of the show. Yummies. What are yummies, Mare?
Yummies are our current favorite things we like, things we want to talk to you about.
Yummies. So first up is, we got a parcel this week from Julia, who is Nimrus on Ravelry, who is the owner of Pandia's Jewels. And the primary purpose of the parcel is that she and her mom and daughter are coming over for the retreat, the Geeky Puffin Knitpalooza, in October, and she's going to sell some of her yarn, so she's starting to ship a little bit to me because she can't carry it all on the plane. So we have that, but she also stuck in for Damaris and I, oops, hold on, I'm dropping things. She gave Damaris and I each a badge, so I'll put that on my button, my badge monster back there, and these cute Addicted to Sock Knitting bracelets. Aren't those fabulous? So I have to find some more special to put that, because I don't normally wear bracelets, but I love it. And then next up, so the day we went to go interview Rachel, because we went to the flat that she was in for her trip here, and we were waiting to meet the hubs so that we could all come home together, and there was this little shop, I don't know what the name of it was. Anyway, we popped into this little shop just to look around while we were waiting for the hubs, and what did they have there? It's a keychain, and it's a wee little sheepy, really with wool on it. How adorable is that? And it's called Woolly You, and it's handmade in Scotland. Maybe I should Google and see if they have a website. But this is not the name of the store. It's just the name of the person who did this, company who did this. They had white ones as well, but I was like, oh, that'll get dirty. So the sheep is made out of wood. And then just the lovely wool. So I had to have it. It was adorable. So, yay, sheepy. All right, we're ready for our interview. So first up, let me show you what Rachel gave me. This is her newest book, Splinters of Light, which I've already read twice. I have it on my iPad as a Kindle version, but she gave me one, and she said, do you want to give it away as a prize since you already have it? And I was like, no, I want the real thing. And so she autographed it for me. So I highly, highly recommend this book. It is so, so, so good. And we talk about some in the interview, I think why I cried most of the way through the book about that. So we are going to stop now, and we are going to put in the interview with Rachel, and then we'll be back for a few announcements. So we really hope you enjoy the interview. Everything that we talked about in the interview is in the show notes, or I did my best. If I missed something, let me know, because I think I got everything that we talked about and put links in the show notes. So if something catches your fancy, go look there for it. Okay, so here comes the interview, and we'll be back in a little while. All right, guys, we are here on I don't even know what day of the week it is. It's Thursday.
No idea.
I think it's Thursday. Yeah, we released the episode this morning. On Thursday, and we have a very, very special guest.
I'm Rachel Heron.
In case you don't know. I mean, how can you not know who she is?
You don't know.
They know. They know. If you don't know, you're about to find out.
You are sweet. I am a writer from California, and I write. I write a lot of stuff, but
yes.
But I have a 5-book series called the Cypress Hollow series,
Mm-hmm.
and those are what we call knit-lit,
Yes.
kind of romancy novels with knitting always as a background music,
Right.
because knitting is the background music
That's
for our
right.
lives. And I've written a couple more standalone mainstream books, and I have a memoir called A Life in
Yes.
Stitches. It's about knitting and the things I've made.
Mhm.
And that's what I can't keep knitting out of my books. That's my problem.
I know.
Is
I know.
when
It's
I'm not
fabulous.
supposed to put knitting in, it sneaks in.
It's like, shh, we won't tell anybody that you, just snuck a little bit in. No.
You guys will notice.
Yes. Oh, yes. I'm like, where's the knitting?
I think it's been in every book I've read.
It has. I've read them all. And we were talking before we started filming that I've read your new one, Splinters of Light. I never remember. We just talked about this. I can never remember names. That's why it's like all written down here. You guys know on my little list here. I'm like, okay, now which books were in the series and which are the standalone?
Well,
and
especially now that we don't read, not all of us read in paper anymore.
Right.
I read a lot on my Kindle and
Yes.
my Kobo, and you don't look at the title, you don't look at the cover of the book
No.
all the time.
no,
So I don't even know sometimes authors' names. I'll
Yeah.
have to look them up.
yeah. So I've read Splinters of Light actually a couple times and cried through it because it.
I think you're the first person who's read it more than once,
I
except
have.
for me and my editor.
No, I've read it.
Probably.
I've read
just
it
came
twice. Yeah, I had pre-ordered it, so it came to my Kindle. Well, my iPad, but my Kindle on my iPad.
And it wasn't delayed by being here.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Perfect.
Well, I'm still
sometimes it is.
my Kindle's still connected to my U.S. account.
Interesting. Don't
We don't tell people that. It's the same way of how we watch TV. So yeah, it could have been delayed over here. I don't know. I got it through my U.S. account.
Awesome.
So yeah, I pre-ordered it and was like, oh, I gotta have it, but it felt a little bit different than anything else you've written because it had that health aspect.
It was definitely. I don't call it dark because it's not like
Right.
it's not dark in tone, but the theme is a woman who finds out that she's very sick,
Right.
And she is kind of helping her daughter deal with
Mhm.
that. Daughter,
I know,
Oh
and
my God,
I think that
exact, almost the same age. even.
Yeah, well, and I think that's why I maybe connected to
Yeah.
so much because obviously my health issues aren't. But what she has, I'm trying not to do any spoilers in case you haven't read it. But that mother-daughter connection as well. And I was like, oh gosh, I think I just related to it too much, and that's why I.
Yeah,
Cried
and
and
there's a sister connection too,
Right.
And I cried and cried writing it.
Yeah,
But I really put myself in that book because
I'm just turning a little bit. Keep going. You're good.
Because like the connection that comes up in all of my work over and over and over and over and over and over again is the mother-daughter connection.
Yeah.
That's the poor Damaris. You're like, oh no, I don't want to talk about this. But that's the connection. My mom passed away 7 years ago. Something
Yes.
like that.
I think I was reading your blog even then. I mean, how long have you been blogging?
2002. 13 years?
Yeah.
A long time.
Damaris was born in '99, so.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow. Just a little thing.
Yeah.
So and I was so close to my mother
Right.
in a real interesting way, and just never felt like I knew her as well as I wanted to.
Right.
And maybe I'm still searching for that in my books. Is
Yeah.
trying to figure out mothers. Although she was a really good mother.
Oh.
I have no idea what I'm doing here.
You're
Okay,
brave.
sorry.
I don't need anything with a chart when
Oh,
we're talking.
I'm not charting. What I'm doing is like these are the simple rows right now,
Okay,
and
okay.
maybe some of these I'm going to put in.
Okay.
But I'm actually we're staying in this gorgeous flat in Edinburgh because one of my writing girlfriends, she writes murder mysteries, Gigi Pandian. She is turning 40, and I'm making this for her birthday because she's putting us up in this flat.
Oh.
And it's a Spilly Jane knits pattern, and Gigi loves. I'll have to hold this up. Gigi loves gargoyles more than anything in the whole world.
That's beautiful.
So there's a little gargoyle hidden in there. Oh yeah, you can't see that.
Yeah. What's the name of the pattern? Because I'll link it in the show notes.
It is called. Who knows? Oh,
Gargoyle
gargoyle
cowl.
cowl.
Damaris, remember that. That's your job.
And so it's going to be a cowl for her, and hopefully I'll get it done by the time we leave here,
Oh,
so I can
that's
present it to
fabulous.
her for her birthday.
Yes, that's fabulous.
So.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
What is your favorite thing to knit?
It's kind of like my books. It's whatever I'm working on.
Okay.
Whatever's in my hands at the time. But I think overall, like where my heart is always cables. I can
Okay.
do cables in my sleep. I just, the big, huge, complicated cable just makes sense to me.
Right.
Whereas this has made me completely apoplectic. Like and just because of the way I chose, it's not her fault. It's the way I chose to knit it. But I'm knitting white on dark,
Oh,
and the pattern is written
is dark on white.
and I don't have a printer, so I can't print out an inverse one.
You should have told me because I would have printed it.
I did put it on my phone as inverse. I put it in Photoshop, and then so I've been looking at it on my phone. But
Because I totally would have printed it.
After being up for like 24 hours, I was trying to do this very first like not making sense row right here, the one that, and I was it was really bad. I probably did that row 2 or 3 times that night that we got here with jet lag, which was really not smart. It was it was like worse than drinking and knitting.
Which I do on Monday nights because our knit group meets at a pub. So there's always alcohol involved.
Nice.
Damaris has hot chocolate or a smoothie or
Yep.
But
well, I'm kind of mad today because the reason you're in this beautiful flat is that you were kind enough to come here and meet me because I've been fighting a migraine.
Which I totally understand.
Which you do, which I often get after I have any alcohol, and I didn't have any alcohol.
That's not fair.
And I really want some scotch, so I figure once this migraine clears, I will go get some scotch because you probably won't get a migraine from it.
There you go. There you go.
I love scotch, and I am in Scotland.
Yes. So you're working on a new book.
I am, and it's killing me.
Can you tell us anything
about
it?
I can tell you all about it.
Oh, good.
Y'all forget. But I'm
not going to forget.
But I will tell you the premise and with no spoilers. It's called Taking Care. And it's about a woman who really wanted to start a family with her husband, and her husband continued to refuse. He did not want a child. Just period, did not want a child. Didn't want to. They lost a couple of children who you can identify with.
Yes.
And she wanted to adopt, and her husband said no. So she finally, this is all on the first page, basically. She finally gets the bravery to tell him that she wants a divorce, which is something she never wanted in her life.
Right.
And he drops dead. Again, all on the first page, so you're not spoiling anything. But then she does.
Where in the world are you going to go from now with all that on the first page?
Where I go is that she finds out that her husband was married before, which she never knew, and had a son.
Oh, wow.
So it just rocks her world, and she goes to meet this other family of his. And that's where we go. But for some reason, these characters are not behaving for me. They are now. I've finally kind of wrangled them into submission. But I'm almost at the very end. It's due in 3 weeks. And I need to figure out how to fix we call it the black moment, the darkest moment of the book, where all is lost and you cannot win.
Right.
My problem is I always write to that black moment and I never know how to fix it, which I think it makes it authentic.
Right.
If I don't know how to fix this terrible thing that's happening, then hopefully the readers won't think, well, that's dumb. But I haven't figured out how to fix them yet.
Yikes.
Yikes. Yeah.
So is anything while you're here in Edinburgh going to appear in your book in any format?
I don't know. That's a really good question. I think the weather. Is that a weird answer?
No, the weather here is crazy.
The weather is nutballs. Like, I have never seen weather like we had yesterday. It was sunny, raining, and I've been in a lot of places, but it wasn't like it was a little bit of sun and then a little bit of rain. It was bright sun and then dark black clouds and torrential downpours, and the world is ending, and then birds come out and sing.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And that was all within like 5 minutes.
Yes.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Like we went to the J.K. Rowling Cafe and hung out, and my friends and I were doing some writing, and it started to rain again, and we thought, we'll just sit here for a few minutes, and it went away. So I really like that changeableness of the weather, and the book is occurring in spring, so I think I'm going to actually use that kind of
brilliant.
as kind of background noise.
That's good. That's good. And how is knitting going to fit into the book?
Knitting is fitting into the book. Oh, this is good. Because for the last 2 mainstream books, I'm not supposed to be putting in knitting, but I can't help it. But this one, I actually asked my editor if I could.
Right.
And Abby, who is the woman who the book opens with, is going to teach Scott's son.
Oh.
He has to do a science project and to change something into something else. So he's going to change like a simple knitted hat and dye it with the onion skins from her garden, which she grows. She's kind of an herbalist. And do that. So there's actual knitting. And I think if I have time in 3 weeks, I'm going to just write a quick pattern with the natural dye and put that in the back of the book.
Oh, that's
just kind of like I
fabulous.
did with the Cypress Hollow books.
Yes,
'Cause
which
that's fun.
this one is from How to Knit a Heart Back Home. It's Ruby's bookstore sweater.
I love that you are wearing that, and she put this delicious, clever ruffle on the edge. I put a crocheted edging on because, truth be told, it was rolling. So I was like, I'll put a crochet. This looks better. I love it.
And I don't know what I did, honestly.
Who knows,
I was
right?
telling Rachel before we started recording, I was like, so yeah, I don't crochet, and so I had a friend help me, and I didn't understand what she told me, so I just kind of did what I did, and
I love it.
okay.
It's the perfect shape. It's the perfect size. I love it.
It's my first sweater that I ever knit for myself.
Really? That's super honoring. I'm
Yeah.
honored by that. I'm so glad.
And it made the cut to come over to Scotland with us.
Wow.
Because
I will
how
tell you.
often could I wear this in Texas? I wore it maybe like once a year in Texas, and so
That is another problem with
yes,
California. So I do make a lot of socks, but
yes,
the Ruby's Bookstore sweater is super special to me because that particular book, I've written I think 10 books now. Take a
hold on, I
moment.
can tell you.
Wait, 5, 6,
2,
7,
3.
8. This is my 9th. I think I'm writing.
6. How many are there in?
There's 5 in Cypress Hollow.
Because one of them is like a short. There's a short story
That's an additional.
that goes in with it.
Yeah.
So 5, and then Life in Stitches and Pack of the Moon and Splinters of Light.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
All of those.
Yeah.
I can't remember what's saying. Oh, and none of those have given me fits like this book, Taking Care, that I'm writing right now, and How to Knit a Heart Back Home. And I was also designing that sweater at the same time I was writing that book, and this was also giving me fits. So I would literally rip back that sweater, and I would rip back the book at the same time. It was really moving
Right.
in the same progression. So the fact that I turned out, I really liked that book in the end.
Yeah.
And so the fact that I'm wearing it is really special.
And I'm wearing my fun brooch that y'all have all seen before, my needle felted one.
I love
Like I vended at EYF with my designs with my friend Sam, who does project bags. This is one first.
Oh,
So not
love it.
So I'm vending with her in London next week. That's why I'm going to
Cool,
London.
okay.
So, but there was a booth that she had this needle felted stuff, and she has like these wall hangings and stationery and bags and all kinds of stuff. And
All needle felted?
All needle felted, necklaces, earrings. And so like I saw this on the first day, and I was like, I don't know. I really like it, but I don't know. Like, and talked about it the whole night after we got home from it. I was like, oh my gosh, I really think I would that.
That's when you
So
know.
the next morning I was like, I know we're not technically open yet, but can I go ahead and buy this before I have to go sell my
Because
stuff?
what if it had been sold to
I
somebody
know.
else?
I
Is it
know.
like silver on the side?
Yeah, it's got
Oh my gosh, that is gorgeous.
So,
That's truly
and it was
gorgeous.
pink. It's got the pink, and so of course that was the one I had to get.
I am like I said earlier. I'm not sure how you feel about it.
Yeah, no, I
Your
know.
hair is fabulous, by the way.
Thank you. This is a new edition. I only did this maybe a couple months ago. So yeah, it's and then got a new tattoo last week.
I
and
saw that on Instagram.
Yeah,
And that is absolutely gorgeous. I think that the sentiment is
yeah,
incredibly wonderful.
yeah. I've been wanting something.
Do you know which one you are?
The one onto the edge.
Oh.
Yeah, I've got to go back in and have it touched up a little because. I know we're like talking about all random things. I hope y'all are enjoying this. Sorry, it's like we're just chatting and you can just watch them. Yeah, because there's so much ink that had to go in there,
Yes,
and
yes.
the skin just got tight.
Yes.
And so I went in and saw my tattoo just lady Monday because her shop is like right next to the pub where we go for knit night. And she was like, it turned out so much better than I thought. She was like, you must have been taking really good care of it because she was said I was like imagining. We knew she would have to touch it up, but she was like, there's only really a couple spots that didn't take very well, but the rest of it, yeah.
I love tattoos. I have 3.
Yeah, I do. I have 3 now. 1, 2, 3.
Nice.
Yeah. So I knew I wanted something for several years, but just could not, because I didn't want a traditional memorial honor
Yes.
tattoo. That was just not my style. So I kept going, look.
That is why we wait until we know.
That's right.
You know.
That's right. That's right. Let me think. I had a question, then it went totally. Do you want to
Sorry.
ask? You want to ask questions about writing?
Sure. What advice would you give to aspiring writers?
Advice to aspiring writers is continue. I already know you do this, but continue to read voraciously. Absolutely everything. I think that's really the 2 ways you learn about writing are by reading and by writing. And I hate saying it because I have a lot of education in writing. I spent a lot of time in school writing. I got my undergrad in writing. I got my graduate degree in writing, and the where I really learned how to write was by writing, and by writing books that were terrible. and have you ever heard? Sorry, I keep leaning out of the frame for my
No, you're fine. You're fine.
What is his name? This American Life.
Oh.
What's his name?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
You all know what his name is.
Yeah. They're screaming it at us. And there's this time travel thing that happens, and we're like, yeah, we can hear you from the future, but it's not clear enough.
I can almost hear you. It's going to come to me as soon as we turn off the tape. But he talks about the gap, and I talk about the gap a lot, is readers, good readers, know what good writing is.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that when you start writing, you're not good enough yet, and you can tell. And that's the hardest part about learning to write, is that frustration that you feel when you read over what you've written. You're like, that sucks, and I don't know how to fix it. It's not what I wanted to put on the page. And that gap between your taste and your talent narrows and narrows and narrows over time, until fine. I don't think it's ever touching, but it gets easier and easier. So the more you read, the more you write. I think that's what I would advise.
I've tried to convince her to do NaNoWriMo.
NaNoWriMo.
So I do the knitting aspect. I do the Natty Swimmo.
Oh, that's true. You know what? And knitters must know about that a lot more than regular muggles out there. You know.
So I've done it the last 2 years. I've knit sweaters.
If anybody's not clear on what NaNoWriMo is, it's a challenge in November, just like the sweater challenge, to write a novel in the month of November that's 50,000 words, which is kind of a small, a nice short novel.
Right.
And it's how I finally finished a book. I went to grad school and never finished a book, and finally finished one in NaNoWriMo, and that turned out to be my first published novel, which was How to Knit a Love Song.
Yes.
And they do have a kids, you're not a kid, but a young adult version. I think you might set your own number of words, or you can do the entire thing, which I think you should do the entire thing.
We've looked also at some creative writing curriculum that does a book through a whole school year.
Oh, that's cool.
So I can't think what the name is. It's on my computer at home, but
that's cool.
So since we homeschool, we can kind of play around with things. We've even talked about, and we hadn't decided, but of letting her take all of November off from everything else school and just do NaNoWriMo.
So awesome. That would be so cool. That would be amazing. It's really kind of life-changing, and for some of us who can't quite reach the end of things easily, the chance to write the end for the first time was really, really, truly amazing.
Yeah. I had a question in that vein, and then I just lost it. When is it? Oh, thank you. 10th wedding anniversary.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Pink wasn't my color when we got married. Pink happened after we got married. So, this is what we're talking about. There you go. When is the new book coming out, or do you have a date yet? I know you said it's due in 3 weeks.
It's due in 3 weeks, which is, as we're speaking, it's due on June 1st, and then there's a lag time in publishing, so it won't come out until next March.
Okay.
Again, Splinter's Flag came out in March, so I think I'm on a once every year schedule right now.
Oh, that's good.
But y'all can be the first to know, too, that I have a new series coming out. Less knitting, but I'm sure it will sneak its way in. Yes. But it's set in a similar town to Cypress Hollow. It's called Darling Bay. And those will be out, I think, maybe April of next year. April, maybe 6 months later. Oh, and those are back to romances, back to and it's you want to hear the setup?
Yes,
I love the setup. It's 3.
I can't even knit. I'm so excited.
Me neither. I dropped it. It's 3 sisters who were a country singing sensation. Hello, Texas.
Yes.
It's country singing sensation when they were in their real, late teens, early 20s, and then they separate. They split up. They have a bad breakup because of family stuff, and then they all have to come back to the small town where they inherit a bar and a restaurant and the hotel, and so they have to come back one after the prodigal daughter coming home, and then this one, and so it's basically Nashville meets Gilmore Girls.
Do you know how big a Gilmore Girls fan I am?
I do.
I have hanging on my wall I can't stop drinking the coffee. I stopped drinking the coffee. I stopped doing the walking, the standing and walking.
You need some coffee.
I do. It's over there. The standing and walking and words putting into sentence doing.
Yeah, so this might be up your alley.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm super excited. I get to start writing that in 3 weeks. As soon as I finish this book, I get to jump right into that. So I can't wait.
I think the weather's changing. Did
The
you notice how
light just
dark it just got?
It's like it went to 8 at night. Also,
Yeah.
your night doesn't start until 11.
And
That's
it
an
gets
exaggeration,
even more worse. I mean, we have to hang a blanket in the window because at some point we only have 4 or 5 hours of darkness
Wow.
because of how far north we are.
Wow, that is so
But that
cool.
also means in the winter we have some days where you only have 4 or 5 hours of light, which is really hard.
Yeah.
I have to make sure and use sun lamp during
Yeah,
that time of
good,
year,
good,
especially because it's rough.
Yeah. Oh, and sun came back up.
Yep, all right. Let me think. I'm so excited. I'm like, you just have to keep writing books. Write more books, write more books. I need more books.
That is what I do.
I don't know how I originally found you.
Hmm.
That would be really interesting to know.
Could it have been from the Knitmore Girls? Who are
No, because
mutual friends?
I did not, because I was reading your blog before I even knew about podcasts.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I really don't know. I was thinking about that earlier. I was like, I have no idea how I found you.
I used to be more active in the blogging community, but I think the blogging community used to be more active in the
It's-
blogging community.
Well, yeah, and then it's kind of now
You know?
having a resurgence.
Is it?
Yeah. One of my favorite podcasters, who's based in London, Kate, does the A Playful Date podcast, and she's
read about that. I haven't heard it
she's
yet.
really, really into blogging as well. And yeah, you need to check her out because she's really amazing.
Well, I will.
She's coming to teach
Yeah.
at our retreat, our knitting retreat in October. Do you know about this? We're having a
No.
knitting retreat here in Edinburgh in October.
Don't tempt me.
Come back. We have room. We have room. We have room. So we're going to be on site at a former Catholic seminary that has turned into a retreat center. And we have 4 teachers coming in, so everybody gets 2 classes. We're doing a 3-shop yarn crawl. We're having an on-site vendor market.
Oh, how fun!
Tin Can
Oh,
Knits
that's so-
is going to.
Do you have a separate yarn crawl as well?
Yes, that
coming
Indie
up?
Girl
That's
yarn
nice.
crawl.
That's the one I saw.
Yeah, on the episode that we just released today, because we're time traveling again, we actually did an exclusive reveal of the logo and everything.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
because our good friend Jess from Ginger Twist Studio
Yes.
that I told you,
Yes.
you got to get over there, is one of the main
Oh, awesome.
people. But yeah, we're going to do a separate yarn crawl with the retreat. Yeah, and it's going to be, we're only going to have about 55 people, so it's going to be a good
Fun.
size. Yeah, you should come back.
Our world is pretty cool. I love
Yes.
the knitting world. I love the knitting world, and I love the writing world, and I love the crossover there is
Yes.
in it. And there is so much crossover. I don't know why so many knitters are writers, but I think it comes down to again what the yarn harlot Stephanie has expressed so beautifully, that if you put stitch after stitch, after a while you end up with a sweater. If you
Maybe
write
I found you
word
through
after
her.
word, it's possible. Word after word, you end up with a book.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah.
She
Because
and I go way back.
Because I've been following her blog for quite a while. I bet that's what it was. I bet I found you through her.
Hey, thanks, Stephanie.
Yeah. I don't know how I found her, but I used to be more a blogger as well. I mean, I still do a little bit, but I used to be really active blogger, so that could have.
Blogging has been a big part of my life for a long time. I don't blog as often anymore, but
Right.
I blog. I still try to blog as openly.
Right.
I love being super, sometimes brutally honest on the blog. I've been honest about a lot of.
Yeah,
things,
and I
health
think that's one of
things,
the things that I love so much about your blog is that you are so open about things. When we started podcasting, I think that's when I kind of took the downturn from blogging because it was kind of the same thing. It's just on camera, but we're pretty honest. I mean, we have a segment called Ask the Geeky Girls where people can put questions in. We're like, ask us about anything. I don't think there's been any question where we've said, no, that's too personal. We won't answer that.
But that's what I come back to in my writing as well, over and over again, is that like the more honest you are and the more real you are, that's when you become interesting. Is when you're talking about something that I really love. One of my favorite topics is not just mother and daughters, but it's the topic of shame.
Yes.
Because we can all identify with shame, and the only thing that breaks shame is to speak about it. And when somebody talks or writes, like I love reading memoirs, and when somebody goes really deep into their darkest secret, the thing that they're most ashamed of in their body and in their soul is like when I say, "Oh, I know who you are. Yeah. Now I can understand you, and now I trust that you're telling me the truth." And now,
Yeah. When I read your memoir that you did, I was like, I don't want it to end, so I would like let myself read like one little essay, and then I'd be like, okay, I can't read it anymore for a while because otherwise I'll get to the end too fast, and I don't want it to end. That's how I am with quite often with memoirs. Though I'm like, I don't want it to end.
Me too.
I just finished reading. Would you grab my coffee for me, sweetheart?
We are at the coffee point.
Yeah, we need coffee. Coffee's over there, so Marissa's gonna grab it. I just finished reading a nonfiction book called Found, and it's this woman who, it's in the religious vein, which we talked about earlier, that I'm, quite active in. But she was really interested in Benedictine monks and their prayer cycle of how they pray. I think it's 7 times a day, and it's a year-long journey through her going through this.
See, I would love to read that.
Oh, I highly recommend it. It just came out.
Adore.
It was really, really good. And you were talking about shame. I just started rereading Daring Greatly by Brene Brown.
I love her.
Love her stuff.
Isn't she great?
Yes.
I'm reading I don't know how to say his name, Pico Ier's
Mm-hmm.
right now on being still,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of in that same vein. And he talks a lot about the Benedictine prayer cycle and yeah.
So yeah.
There's some good stuff
I
out
know.
there. There's some good
There is. So you have been going through a kind of purging in your life, which I was like, oh gosh, we have so much in common. How are we having so much in common? And we've never even met in person.
And you had to do that.
Yeah, we had to do that to move over here. And so I was like, oh, I think I commented a lot on your blog as you were talking about that. And maybe even on Twitter. I was like, oh gosh, yeah. I read this one. You need to read this, or whatever. I think I did.
You might have recommended a couple of the books I read.
Probably.
Now that I think of it. I've been super into that. Not so much minimalism, although I'm super drawn to minimalism, but essentialism.
Mm-hmm.
And and I just had a piece come out in Twist Collective in this last issue.
Okay.
On minimizing our craft storage, because that's the point at which it's really hard to it's hard to marry the concept of essentialism with how much craft stuff we like to keep in our houses. Like, seriously, I could barely walk into my office without, like, a ball of yarn hitting you in the head. Like, you could not get in there, and it was really, really weighing me down. Mm-hmm. This, more than anything else in the house, probably, was my craft stuff, because I had, a dozen projects that were completely incomplete that I kind of knew that I'd never get back to, but I kind of had that hope that I would. I had all this yarn that I bought that was gorgeous, and a lot of times when I travel, I buy yarn, and it's really no purpose other than to buy yarn. And
souvenir yarn. I mean, that's
souvenir yarn. Like, it's always allowed. That's even if you're on a yarn diet, you can get souvenir yarn, which I might get on this trip anyway.
Yeah, I was on a yarn diet for about 4.5 months leading up to EYF, and I had my caviats. I was like, okay, this is a caveat.
Yes, exactly.
You have to have your caveats.
Yes. And then in order to think about not getting rid of, but getting down to what you essentially need as a knitter or as a crocheter or as any kind of crafter, quilter, was really an interesting process. And I wrote about that in Twist. Mm-hmm. And for me, what it came down to was, I don't know if you talked about it on your podcast yet, but everybody else is talking about it. Marie Kondo's book, what's it called?
I can't think what it's called.
Magic Art of Tidying Up.
That's it. Yeah. I haven't read it, but
it's kind of like it's one of those books that you know about because you read about it so much.
Yeah.
And it's about sparking joy. And when I read the thing about sparking joy, there was so much yarn that I loved and that I thought was beautiful and that I thought could be useful.
Right.
Which is why I had kept it so long.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but when I picked up the piece, the yarn, and held it in my hands, does this spark joy? It was completely easy to put that aside, to go to the charity shop. We have something called the Creative Depot for Reuse and Recycling in the Bay Area.
Yeah, you've written about that.
Yeah, it's all arts and crafts supplies.
Oh, that's fabulous.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So
I should not be letting you sit in there. That would be bad.
No. So to take it there makes me feel good. It is going to some knitter or crafter who is going to buy these balls of yarn for a quarter or 50 cents and actually be able to use them and make them into something beautiful. But it was easy. It was so easy to let go of these projects, which I had spent hundreds of hours in working on, and then to hold it and realize, oh, it doesn't spark joy. I love it. It could do something, but it doesn't spark joy. It goes.
Yes.
And it was completely fascinating. And now I'm down to a bunch of hand spun, some cashmere, because you can take that from my cold dead fingers.
Yes. I'm knitting a shawl right now that's baby alpaca cashmere and silk.
This is incredible. This is like a merino. It's just 100% merino.
This
But
is so
it
soft, you guys.
It is so freaking
Look
soft.
how soft that is, man.
And it is Woolfolk.
Oh, I've heard of them.
Wolf people. Woolfolk, and it is TYND, tinned. And it is incredible yarn.
It's really
And-
soft.
Yeah, but now I'm allowing myself to buy yarn for projects as they come up. I wanted to make this cowl, so I went out and bought gorgeous stuff.
Yeah, that's been a journey for me because that's how I used to shop. Was I bought yarn for projects as I needed. When we moved over here, I only had maybe half a dozen skeins that I brought with me that were kind of these treasured. That I was like, but then now that we've been here almost 2 years now, I've kind of
creeps.
creeps.
Well, especially you're in the business.
Yeah. And so, I mean, and I don't have a large stash comparatively. I mean, in our podcast, usually behind our heads is this big shelf of that. That's all the yarn I have.
Yeah. I think you had about you have as much as I did. I think I had a bit more. But I had gotten down to about a couple bookshelves of yarn, and it still felt like too much.
Yeah, mine is just that one shelf of the bookshelf. The whole bookshelf's not even full.
Oh wow! And my shelf was full.
So,
but I also want to reiterate that like this is what felt right for me.
Right.
I am definitely not telling people to get rid of their stash.
No.
But if it's weighing on you, then it means something, and it's that means it's time to think about it.
Yeah.
If you can feel that you need to get rid of some stuff.
Yeah. So yes, in fact, the question that was just on the podcast that we released today, somebody was asking, so are you going to go back on your yarn diet since EYF is over? And I was like stammering and being like, you see that my thing is, after I had just bought 7 skeins of yarn this week.
Oh, I saw that. Oh, that was right. That was a cute color too.
It was an exclusive color, Knitterbachar Glory for Yarn Shop Day. And so Jess from Junior Twist had like posted a picture on, I don't know, Instagram or Twitter or somewhere. And I wasn't able to go on Saturday, so I was like, well, if she has any left when we go on Monday, I'll because I'm designing the sock pattern for the yarn crawl, so I had stopped it to show her before Knit Club. I was like, if she has any left, I'll look and see. And I got in there and she had some, and I was like, this is really nice. This is kind of my colors. I wonder if there's something in my queue that I could knit. So iPad comes out and I'm like, oh, it's a tank from Knitty. One of the new patterns from Knitty. It's called Mia, and it's a tank, but it's gathered in the back, and it's all top down in the round.
Ooh.
And a big size options because I'm a bigger girl and I need. We'll show you when we get done. And so I got yarn for it for 35 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, since it was an exclusive colorway, it was marked down, and it was really funny because
Had to be an exclusive.
Yeah, I was like, I looked it up and I was trying to figure out how much yardage I need, and I was like, oh, I can't do this. You only have 6 skeins of it left. I said, if you had 7, I would totally buy it. She was like, oh, I have more. And so, yeah,
You're host.
yeah,
Then you have to.
yeah. So, so I'm excited to knit that, but yeah, it's really hard because it's like you said, you go somewhere and you're like, oh, I'm going to give a souvenir. And so now I have so many just one single skein things.
And I honestly sometimes forget where I got the stuff.
Yeah. So
If it says New Zealand on it, then I know that I got it in New Zealand.
Right.
But if it's something, more generic that I bought as a souvenir in, Chicago, I will not remember where that came from.
One of the things that's been hardest for me to get rid of is the leftovers after I finish socks because there's always so much left.
Oh, and then you see these gorgeous blankets. That
I just started one.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
doing, it's called the 10 Stitch Zigzag.
Oh, I saw that.
It's fabulous. Yeah.
Dang, I think that would drive me crazy.
No, you only work these 10 stitches at once, and so I actually bought DPNs. I didn't own any DPNs, but I didn't want the cable. I'm like, DPNs are not my friend. Other people can use them. It's totally fine. They're not my friends. I hate them. I don't use them. And then I bought a set because otherwise your cable's in the way with just 10 stitches. You don't need that.
Right.
But it's fabulous. You don't sew it together. So you knit these 10 stitches for the zigzag, and then you bind off 9. It's a free pattern. I'm not spoiling anything. And so you have 1 stitch left. So you cast on 9 with your new color, and then as you go down, you slip your last stitch and pick up a stitch and over, and so you don't sew it. Because that's why I was like, I'm not doing something late because I'm not sewing. Damaris is doing hexapuffs. I was like, I am not sewing. I am not sewing. Yeah.
She's younger. She has more time.
Her eyesight's better. She can sew these things together. So I was like, and then I found this and I was like, this is perfect. So now I'm starting to use some of those leftovers that had just set. And so I'm like,
smart.
this is, yeah, it's a free one.
Meanwhile, I just got rid of all my sock yarn scraps.
She's the same one that did the 10 stitch square, and then she's got a circular one. But I had never seen the zigzag one before.
That's so
so I did. Yeah, I just
cool.
really started it, and of course now the Hubs has decided that it needs to fit our entire bed, hanging over the sides. So yeah,
With sock yarn?
with soft yarn, I'm
What's
going to be
your
knitting on
next
this
7
until
years?
it's until like till I'm 90 or something. I'm going to still be knitting on. He's like, what if we get a bigger bed? I'm like, I'll just add some more zigzags.
Well, that's nice about it though, because
Yeah.
you actually could.
Yeah. And then I guess if it's not wide enough, you could always do an edging.
You could also do the same project in bulky yarn. That's
You
all I'm
could.
saying.
Well, yeah, you could do it
Done
in
by
any
Monday.
way. Yeah, you could do it in any way. And that's what she did. She just used, I think she used like different colors of Noro and did
Oh.
it. So you could totally do it without it being a scrap blanket. But it's a really good scrap blanket thing too, because you're.
I love scrap blankets.
So yeah, so I'm trying to use up this basket of treasured leftover socks. So I don't even know how we got to this.
I don't
have
either.
no clue. No clue. Mary, you have any other more questions you want to ask? No. Now that we've sat here.
I want to ask a question now. What do you write? What do you like to write?
I haven't really been writing any fiction lately. I've been
Yeah.
working on school.
Yeah.
She's
That's
writing
cool.
essays and essays and essays.
Oh.
But you've written kind of like in the fantasy,
Is that what you like to read? The
Yeah.
fantasy vein?
Yeah. fantasy sci-fi.
And
Um,
then keep to that when you're writing.
Yeah.
Do that.
so I think we're gonna have to talk some more about maybe NaNoWriMo or
Yeah.
or that creative writing course because I think it would be. But
Again,
I
if you're drawn
love
to that, you
yeah
know-
I
you
love
know
reading
you're
what she
drawn.
writes. But yeah, once you get to high school, you kind of all of a sudden have all these things that you have to do at once.
All these things you have to do at once, but you're also kind of learning that, you're learning what you might want to do.
Yeah, definitely.
I always knew that I wanted to be a writer. I just didn't think it was responsible or feasible. And look at me, I'm in Edinburgh because I'm a writer.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, I don't know how you do all you do with your other full-time job.
I
We
also
didn't even
have-
talk about that.
Yeah, I also work 911 full time for the fire department. I do fire medical 911, so that's usually like 60 to 80 hours a week.
Does that bleed into any of your writing? Does it
All of it.
influence? Does it? I would guess, especially with Splinters, with the
Yes.
health, did that
Yes.
kind of?
Yeah. The thing that job does is I get to hear love in every single
Mhm.
form. I get to hear love that someone suddenly has for the person who passed it out on the sidewalk in front of them that they've never met. And they are the one caring for that person. And then I get to hear love for the person who's chronically ill and
Mhm.
their partner calling in. I get to hear it in all languages with translators.
Mhm.
I give CPR instructions, and to hear what people are going through on the worst day of their life. I think that's why I love writing so much, is that I hear so many of the worst day of a person's life, and I like to try to change that into. I like to put my own
Yeah.
story onto the end, because as a dispatcher, I get the very beginning. I'm
Right.
the first point of contact. I'm the first responder.
Right.
And I never get the end of the story. I don't know how
Yeah.
these people end up, because there are very valid HIPAA laws. I can't just call
Yeah,
up
no.
and say, "How's the baby doing?"
Yeah.
That
yeah.
would be great if I could. But
Yeah. It's very similar with what I did as a hospital chaplain.
yes,
I did get a little bit more of the end of the story, but not always. I mean, sometimes I would get called middle of the night when I was on call and get this little snippet, and that was all I ever got.
I call a lot of chaplains. We have 7 on our
That's
roster where I work,
fabulous.
and we use them a lot. And a lot of times, as a dispatcher, my firefighters will get on scene and they'll ask for one. But a lot of times, I will have been the person talking to that
Mm-hmm.
caller, and the firefighter on scene won't think to ask for the chaplain. So I'll prompt. Do
Right.
you want a chaplain? Because
Yeah.
I know how upset that person was,
Yes.
and I know that they're going to want to
Yes.
talk to somebody.
Yes.
So,
Definitely.
Yeah, I absolutely love having that service. At my last agency where I worked, we only had one, and it was a huge 500,000 citizen
Oh wow.
population.
Yeah.
And so now we have 7 for a population of like 60,000.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's good.
That's fabulous.
Good.
That's fabulous. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think we covered all my things on my little list here. This is my bullet journal. Do you know what bullet journal?
No,
is?
I love the bullet journal.
Oh.
I am the biggest bullet journal proponent. I love it.
I love it. And so I finally
I
got
can't
one that I
live
can
my
like
life.
replace the paper in.
That's awesome.
And so then we get my little fun geeky stuff, River Song
Yeah,
from,
I love it.
from
Dr.
Dr. Who and Sherlock.
Oh, that's really cute.
So, but I had to get a separate for knitting stuff. I could not. It was so hard having it just like one page at a time. And
Right.
I tried the where you did a whole month calendar on a 2-page spread, and it didn't work for me. So I finally just had to get like little planners I could put in because
I still
you
use
have-
my Google Calendar
Yeah.
for all.
Well,
that.
yeah, I use Google
can't-
for
you
everything,
can't
but
not.
I'm like, okay, well, I have this new pattern. I have this long to do it, but then I need to send it to testers, but then it's got to be photographed. So you have to have have a calendar where you can just like go, okay, well, this is going to be done by here because you have another pattern coming up here.
That's exactly what happens to me with the publishing schedule. And in fact, I was coming over here and I realized that I only had 3 pages left in my bullet journal. And I also keep my journal in my bullet journal, where I'll just put in a page or whatever. And I can't go to Edinburgh with 3 pages. But all my notes for my book, and I've got 3 weeks left on this book, were in there, so I ripped them out.
Oh, no.
Because I travel so light. My suitcase is literally this big. It's the half-size suitcase and a backpack. And I was not going to bring 2 bullet journals, so I ripped them out.
No.
Which felt very wrong.
Yeah.
I committed a sin.
I'm getting ready to go to London next week, and I'm going by myself. This is the first time I've traveled by myself since I got sick.
Oh.
So, so it's going to be interesting, but I'm like,
good.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, well, I don't have a whole lot to pack clothes and stuff like that, but I have to bring all the samples and mannequin feet because most of my designs are socks.
Yeah.
And so one of our viewers actually sent me from Comic-Con last year this TARDIS bag that is literally probably up to my shoulders tall with this huge strap, and it closes on the top, and it's like heavy duty made. So like all the mannequin feet, all the samples are in this bag.
Lift it. How could you lift it?
No, it's fabulous. It's perfect. Because the mannequin feet are not heavy, they're just bulky.
And neither are the samples.
Yeah. So I just kind of stack it all in there, and then I'm going to take this on the train.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Isn't
How
that
long does
crazy?
it take to get to London from
4
here?
hours.
Oh, that's nothing.
Yeah, it's
I'll go to
fabulous.
London tomorrow.
Yep, you could. You really, really could. It is. It's. I mean,
Take
like,
a show and come back.
Yeah, just go. Yeah, it is fabulous. 4 hours there, 4 hours
Oh
back.
my gosh.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's
That is
crazy.
awesome.
Well, because and we were talking about this actually in our podcast group the last few weeks of. Like in Texas, you could drive 12 hours and still not be out of Texas, and the UK like fits into. You could put like 3 or 4 UKs into Texas, and so that and then looking at it from Americans not knowing that much about geography here, and people in the UK not knowing much about geography there, and so we've been having some interesting discussions about that.
Yeah, we're going on. I was telling you, we're going on a tour of castles on Saturday in a bus, and I was looking at the map. We're gonna like cross Scotland.
Mhm.
And then come back in time for dinner.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's so
crazy.
Cool, you
Yeah.
guys.
I know, it's fabulous. It's fabulous. We're hoping to now that I'm able to do more, we're hoping to do a lot more traveling. We just got back from Nottingham, which
I saw that. That looked.
it was nice because the Hubs was presenting a paper at a
And you were on the
conference.
train, right?
And so we were on the train. That took 3 trains to get there.
Oh,
And then there was a delay. Somebody stole the copper out of the signal cables. And so there was a 1 hour delay because they could only let one train go through at a time. We had to queue up.
Who does that?
I don't know. We were like, are you serious? That's what they were telling me. Like, are you serious? Somebody stole. Yeah.
It does sell for a lot of money. When I worked for PD a long time ago, 911, there were copper thefts all the time.
Yeah.
Because you can't. I guess there's no way to like put a serial number on a piece of copper.
No. It was crazy.
Where do you sell it though? You put a Craigslist ad?
Yeah, I don't know. No, Gumtree. Gumtree is it's not Craigslist over here. Gumtree is the same thing here.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been on Gumtree a lot. The Hubs wants a recliner. And so I've been on Gumtree a lot but we don't own a car because we do all public transit. And so it's like, can somebody, do they have a way to deliver it is the only way we can do it. So, so that makes it a whole lot more limited as to which ads you can respond to.
It was so nice of y'all to come over.
Oh, no
Over
worries.
here.
No worries.
I was in no state earlier to get on a bus.
No, it's
I feel
fine.
much better now.
Oh, I'm glad you do. The coffee, that
Coffee
kicked
helped.
in. Well, I don't even know how long we've been
40
recording.
minutes.
We've been recording for 40 minutes.
Oh my gosh, it feels like 5.
I know. So, but it's good that this is a shorter week between from when we record because we're recording early next week.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll just do little bits of stuff in and around and we'll be good. And we'll have a whole hour long. That's about how long ours usually are, is around the hour mark. So, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
For having me and for
It was
coming around here,
fabulous.
and thanks
I
for
know.
listening on
Yeah.
that.
Hope y'all enjoyed it. I will put
Oh,
links
come visit me at yarnagogo.com.
Yes, I'll put that in the show notes and I'll put links to your books.
I live on Twitter.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to say goodbye because otherwise we're going to just record for another 2 hours. And y'all don't care that much about us chit-chatting about stuff. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll time travel and talk to you again some more later. Bye. Thanks for watching. So did you love the interview with Rachel? I hope so. I know we got a little rambly at times, but hope that it was entertaining for you and informative. And yeah, so we were really fortunate to get to spend time with her. I've been reading her blog since, I don't even know. So it was wonderful to be able to get to sit down with her. So, okay, so obviously we've left out a lot of our normal podcast stuff. So when we record next week, it'll be again on a Wednesday with it going live on Thursday. But it's going to probably be a little bit bigger episode because we'll have some stuff to catch up on that we're not talking about today. So look forward next week to our normal What's on the Needles and FOs. But also we will get back with GGK Crafty Pad. We'll talk events, what we're reading and watching, which there'll be quite a lot watching because season finales are going on. We've already watched 3. I think we watched 3 season finales already, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think 7 season finales between this week and next week. And we may not be totally caught up because we'll be having to watch everything that we missed while I was gone. So we'll see what happens. We'll be back to talk to you about all the cows. And I'm keeping track of everybody who's finished so far. Damaris is going to try to take on while I'm gone. Keeping up with the Sheepy Spring Cow peoples who finish. As well as the birthdays. So be patient with her. She's going to do her best to do that because I'm not taking my computer with me. I will have my iPad and I'll probably check in, I'm sure. But it's going to be easier for you to deal with that than me to try to deal with it. So we will talk about all the cows. We'll talk about our Doctor Who chatter thread winners. We will be back with Ask the Geeky Girls where we're going to talk about Damaris' stash. That should be fun. Trying to think if there's anything else announcement-wise. If you are in London or in the London area, you should come out to I Knit Fandango. I'm looking for the dates. It's Friday the 15th of May and Saturday the 16th of May at the Royal Horticultural Halls, Linley Hall in Westminster, London. So if you're in the area or you're planning to come to that, make sure and stop by Sam and my booth because we would love to see you, meet you. Just tell us who you are because sometimes real names don't connect for me in my brain with Ravelry usernames with pictures. So just jog my memories because I will do my best to be able to recognize who you are. So, but we'd love to meet you. I have badges that I'm taking with me and business cards and such. So if you're going to be there, make sure and pop by and see us. We're Amazon affiliates, amazon.com and .co.uk. If you buy something after going through our site, Amazon gives us a little back and that helps support the podcast. So we appreciate if you do that. All right, Mare, I think that's it. So why don't you tell them where to find us online?
You can find us at geekygirlsknit.com. There are links to everywhere else we're online. YouTube, iTunes, Ravelry, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc.
That's right. So until next week, we hope you have a wonderful week. Week and a half, actually, is about how long it'll be before we talk to you again. Happy knitting, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Instagram,
yeah.
I can't stand Facebook, but I do it. I'm just not good at it.
Well, you know, we're like,
it's a talent.
we're saying we're done, and I'm like telling you more
Sorry.
about Facebook. No, it's fine. They'll just tune us out if they don't care. I have to. I feel like I have to be on Facebook because some of my family. That's the only way I see pictures and
I have
stuff.
to too with family
but
publishing.
It was getting to the point where it's like I don't want to see certain things from certain people, but you can't unfriend them because it's like. So I ended up like making a list of, and it's only got like maybe 25 people on it that I really care about seeing what they're posting, and I only go do that, and then I'll hit like the most popular of my newsfeed just to see if somebody announced they're having a baby or they're getting married or whatever.
You're
and
a genius. That's
I'll
like
tell you how to do it.
Facebook genius.
It's fabulous. I love
I
it.
didn't know you could do that.
I'll tell you.
Okay, good.
We won't put it on here unless you care. If you care, ask me and I'll tell you how to do it.